Good Friday morning. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us here on Real Talk. This is an insider's guide to real estate across Charlottesville and Central Virginia. We are live in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. The program powered in part thanks to the Yes Team, trusted advisors in the real estate game, Keith and Yonna Smith. It's been a week since last Friday Keith and I did this show. And we're digesting the news cycle that was coronavirus, Charlottesville, and Central Virginia. Now that we've had a week under our belts, and why don't we go, Judah, to the two-shot, and welcome Keith Smith to the program, the dapper gentleman.
Oh, yeah.
The dapper gentleman.
You're changing this
I am
up.
changing.
Every week it's
the
different.
esteemed gentleman, the regal gentleman. Good Friday morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I am, it's just great to be alive and great to celebrate. And the topic for today, this too shall pass.
Yes.
Right? So we're going to talk some good stats. We're going to talk some positive stuff. We're going to talk about how, as an industry, we've developed some new best practices, and we've got a couple of rock stars across the table from us that are literally in the trenches of this. I'm going to let you introduce them, but before I do that, we're going to do a couple of different things different on this show. Two in particular.
I like that.
One, we're gonna show some stats, and after the introductory,
we do that though.
But I've worked a week over weeks, and we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
The other thing is, I've got 4 $25 gift cards to Marie Bet, and during the show, we're gonna throw out some questions. So whoever's watching live, this is your chance to support an awesome local business.
Look at you.
And we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna try to trick some people up.
Keith Smith making it dynamic. Okay, so we have 4 $25 gift cards that we're going to give away in the next hour. He's going to ask some questions to you.
We're gonna do them together.
Yeah, we'll do them together. Before we do, studio camera, my friend Judah Wickhauer. Ladies first. Ladies first,
Absolutely.
Bill. Katie West in the house. This gentleman, I think, needs absolutely no introduction. A legend in real estate circles. From Northern Virginia to Southwestern Virginia to the Tidewater. Bill Tucker in the house. It's going to be fun spending time with you guys. I'm going to ask to see your footwear today, Bill Tucker. Before we do, Katie, why don't we take a moment, introduce yourself again to the viewing public, please.
Well, I'm the general manager of Charlottesville Settlement Company. We've been in business since 2007. And we have offices in other locations throughout Virginia. And we do real estate settlements and title insurance and searches.
Her second rodeo on the I Love CVille show, Dan Pettit of Real Estate 3 says, I'm watching, I'm ready, I can't wait for Bill Tucker, and give me a damn gift card, Keith Smith. Hello, Dan
Did he say
Pettit.
that?
He did. Hello, Michael Guthrie. Bill Tucker, show's yours, my friend. Introduce yourself to the viewing public.
I'm Bill Tucker. I've been a real estate lawyer, I think, longer than I've been alive.
I think that's actually possible.
I like to tell everybody I started young. I like being a real estate lawyer because I can dress exactly like I'm dressed today. It's first day of spring, so in honor of spring, I'm in my shorts. And do you want me to show the sandals now?
Oh, please do.
And of
Get
course,
those feet.
my sandals.
Look at that hamstring flexibility right there, bringing the feet up. But did you get those? Should we get the legs in again? Let's get the legs in again for Bill Tucker. Katie's like, oh, damn it, what are we doing out there here?
I went to Florida on a track scholarship.
I like it.
Yeah, I was a sprinter and a hurdler.
Michael Guthrie says 6 feet apart. We're basically 6 feet apart.
I was going to say we weren't, Katie and I, but we've been together before.
Yeah,
Bill and I, when we
normal.
saw each other, we did the jazz feet.
Yep.
My wife.
No,
is
we're doing.
Oh,
The heart thing is a new one too.
Okay.
Yeah, just
The hard thing. Okay. We are practicing social distancing. Keith Smith, jump in here, baby.
Isn't that why this is called social media?
Yeah.
We are totally social
We're
distancing.
social distancing.
With everybody over there. I don't know. I actually had a late breakfast this morning after those legs, and that might be a little queasy there, Bill.
Tyler West says hello. Giving you some props right now. Gift cards. We're going to give the gift cards away shortly.
Yeah.
Before we do, these two guests, rock stars.
They are rock stars, and part of the reason I asked them to come on is they're in the trenches every day on this stuff, and we try to bring trusted advisors and calm to folks in the marketplace. And one of the questions as we get to later, we'll kind of answer. We'll go to that for the first gift card, but we got to wait for a bunch more real estate agents and some more folks to chime in. So please, if you're watching this, push it out to your friends, push it out to your neighbors, and we'll go ahead and try to give away some gift cards.
Allie, your beautiful wife, is also doing what my wife is doing right now. Oh. She says, sit further apart, people. Okay. We're doing our best. We're doing our best, Mrs. Miller and Mrs. Tucker. We are doing our best.
Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you, Ellie.
So I want to take this opportunity to say happy birthday to your son.
Yeah, my son's too.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you very much. 2 years old. We woke him up with balloons.
Good for you, man.
I'm super excited. You guys have the pulse on the ecosystem, the community, and what's going on out there. Ladies first. What's the market telling you?
Well, it's still very busy, which is always a good thing. People are, I think, getting nervous and wanting to move closings up, which, I don't foresee the clerk's offices closing completely, so I don't see any reason for that. And it's a very difficult thing to do because we're trying to learn new processes to make sure that everything goes smoothly for everyone. And so moving something up right now is just not something that's real easy to do.
So let's talk about that for a second, because one of your new processes is the potential to e-record, correct?
Yes.
So
We've been e-recording for a couple of days now.
So why don't we explain that, and why don't we explain how we adapted to that very quickly? Because we were involved in one of them ourselves.
Yeah. Well, there's only 2 counties here in this local area that do it, and that's Albemarle and Fluvanna. But the other clerk's offices are open for us to record. But e-recording, basically, whoever is doing the e-recording, which in this case would be me, I have to certify that I have an original document that I am uploading to them, and that this is a recordable document. And then they allow me to pay for it online as well. So I can pay all of the transfer taxes and everything. And, there was a little bit of a learning curve, but now that I've done a couple of them, it's actually pretty easy.
So do you see that as a trend?
In some ways I would like to, in other ways, because we have to update before we record. And when you aren't in the actual clerk's office, if they aren't up to the minute and you're updating online, you could miss something. So that scares me a little bit. However, the title insurance companies have stepped in and are offering what we call gap coverage, which is insurance to cover between the time that the search was originally done and when the final recording takes place, and anything that could have been filed between those two. So the title insurance companies are stepping into the breach and helping us with that as well.
So
when you add something, when you do in-person recordings, we're actually running the title from the last search, the binder, we call it, the binder date, up until the moment of recording. And so we don't need gap coverage in those cases because we're actually checking. It's when we do these e-recordings that we're putting our recording document in line with other documents that may not be indexed. And there's always the risk that there's something there that affects the title to the property we're recording. That's why Katie and I and most people are kind of just look at it a little differently. I'm afraid it's what we're going to have to get used to in the future, and certainly now during the crisis we'll be using more and more e-recordings. I think yesterday we did a couple in Albemarle and one actually in Waynesboro.
So for those who are not real estate agents watching the show, why recording is so important, and you're about ready to go through
literally doing this,
is that's when you get paid, right? So the money doesn't change hands until it's recorded. Mm-hmm. And if it isn't recorded, you could possibly have all the documents signed and everybody ready, but if we don't have the recording process done, then title technically doesn't change hand, or deed doesn't convey, and more importantly, the seller doesn't get their money and the buyer doesn't get the keys. Is that a fair statement? So some of the other jurisdictions are doing different processes for that, right? And maybe we might want to talk a little bit about that before we get into some fun stats.
What's happening is in our area in Central Virginia, we have dual representation, which maybe we've talked about before. So we have people representing both sides of the transaction to make sure it gets completed, and once the deed's recorded, then the money's dispersed. In other jurisdictions, they will, like in Northern Virginia, for example, they'll disperse money at the closing table, even though the documents are not recording. They're relying on gap insurance up there for that kind of distribution. We've been, right now while we're in this crisis, we're all making accommodations so we can keep closings happening. Whatever kind of commerce we in our little part of in the world we can do, we want to make happen. So Katie, the other lawyers that do real estate, we're all kind of coming up with how can we keep closings going on. So one thing is not to panic. We're going to make it happen. The clerk's offices, one way or the other, are accommodating us. For example, the city has locked their doors, city clerk's office, but you can call and make an appointment and go down and record. And we did a couple earlier this week, and they're very accommodating. So one way or the other, we're going to keep things going. I think what you may be alluding to, Keith, and I don't know if you want to talk about the doomsday. I call it the doomsday scenario.
Oh.
Yeah. I want to hear it. I want to see the best and worst from you.
We're not supposed to have any doom today.
Okay. So
how about the best and a realistic scenario?
So what happens if a couple people in the clerk's offices get sick? Governor closes down. No more clerk's offices are going to be open. No more business. Well, what happens then? Can we record? We can't get in the clerk's office to record. They've closed down. Can we do e-recordings? Now, e-recordings, you don't have to have be in the clerk's office to do it, but somebody has to register the e-recording and stamp it as being received. So if the office is closed, can you e-record? I've been asking that question statewide, and there's no answer yet, but I assume we'll have one. So let's assume we can't e-record. We can't e-record. We can't record in person. What are we going to do? The title companies are coming up with scenarios that, with the right kind of indemnities that are signed by the parties, allowing the people to distribute the money at closing, even though you haven't recorded. You're going to sign some waivers, and we can go ahead and complete the closing and just not record until whenever the clerk's office is open. The title companies are looking into providing gap coverage for that. Now, that's a pretty significant coverage,
right.
But they're looking at doing it free of charge.
Wow.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
And it's just a matter of kind of working through the logistics, and they're all working on it now. So doomsday hits and everything closes, we can still keep operating. So I think that's the message to all the realtors out there. Don't panic now.
Well,
one way or the other, your closing's going to happen.
But it's more than that, because we have real estate agents watching, but there's the general public watching,
Yeah.
right? And that's who we
Sure.
help through this process. That's who you help through this process. It's on a more positive spin to this. What I'm hearing, because I tend to look at the positive side of it.
Me too.
You guys are talking about this,
Yeah.
right? You've got multiple
We're trying to get ahead of it.
multiple real estate attorneys that are communicating with each other. So technically, there's your competitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're talking to each other. You've got title insurance companies that are competitors saying, okay, how can we do this so this flow doesn't stop, so Mr. and Mrs. Smith or Mr. and Mrs. Miller can close, right? Because Mr. and Mrs. Miller.
We have a moving truck coming a week from tomorrow at 8 a.m. We do our closing on Friday around lunch, and I don't worry about a whole lot just because that's who I am. Mrs. Miller worries about some things from time to time. She's nervous if we're going to have the keys, if the moving truck gets there at 8, what's going to happen with our stuff. Everything you've heard over countless years of being in this business, we're living right now.
So this is why I brought these guys on.
Yeah.
Because Mrs. Miller should, hopefully she's watching.
She is watching. She watches everything I do very closely.
Smart wife.
She is a smart wife.
Jerry, that
She
doesn't
is
have
a
a
smart
damn
wife.
thing to do with the show.
I know.
So that you know, but so that's kind of what my hope was today. My hope for today was to get out some good positive information. The market has taken a bit of a
Roller coaster
ride. In my opinion, real estate is nothing like what we're watching here in the stock market. It's just a little bit more gradual, and we'll talk about some stats here in a little while.
Before we thank our sponsors and get these gift cards out, you are a legend in this business. That is safe to say here.
Why aren't you doing your closing with me?
I just,
the legend.
I got a ridiculous deal.
Okay.
I got an attorney who owed me a favor.
All right,
Yeah,
that's
what
fair
happened.
enough.
So
Nice job, Bill.
yeah, he owed me a favor, and that's why we did it. If not, we would be with you undoubtedly. Throw this question to you: What is your prognostication, your crystal ball, saying about Charlottesville, and when we're out of this coronavirus? It's contained. We can go back out. It's healthy. Economy, community, housing, real estate, anywhere you want to go.
I think we're going to eventually come out of it. I worry that we're not there yet. It's still coming. And I worry that after the first wave hits and things calm down, is there going to be a second wave? But having said all that, I'm still getting gas at the gas station, going to the grocery store, having some of my staff in the office, although we're operating, half staff in, half staff out. I think things will come back. I think right now we all ought to be real cautious and take care of each other and do what's best for all of us.
So on that line of taking care of each other and taking this a little bit more higher level, we've been working from home for the last couple of days, Yonna and I. Thank God, we actually had a really great week in
Nice.
sales.
Good for you.
Sold a few buyers and sold a couple of listings, so thank God for that. But this becomes, and we're going to get to the first question here, but this becomes a matter of really needing trusted advisors, needing somebody like Katie and Bill on the other side of it, or needing somebody like Keith and Yonna, or all the real estate agents that are watching. But on a positive side, so I'm in the weather spring, I'm in front porch work season, right? I love my front porch, I love my rocking chair. If Greg Slater is watching, I did a Zoom meeting with him yesterday, and he said, "You look like some old dude sitting on the front porch." But my neighbors are walking all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And my next door neighbor to the left of us, we've said hello for 20 years. Mm-hmm. I just engaged yesterday. We walked for a half a mile together, social distancing. Mm-hmm. For 30 minutes, we had a conversation. How's the family? How's the kids? What's going on in your life?
Yeah.
And when I was done with it, I looked at everybody and said, this is a good thing. Right? Because otherwise it was, he zipped by, I waved, he zipped by, she waved, and I had no idea what they did for a living. Now I do. I had no idea how many children they had. Now I do. So, I'm a positive guy, so that's kind of the way I like to go with it. First question.
Is this first question for the gift card?
First question.
Okay, Marie Bett, one of our sponsors here at Real Talk, Water Street and Rose Hill Drive. He's got 4 $25 gift cards he is giving away on the show. Here's the first question, how you can win it.
So first person who chimes in live to Jerry's feed there.
Or any of the Facebook pages. I'll monitor.
So there was a huge internet real estate company that just announced yesterday that it's ceasing all iBuyer business. So everybody's been freaking out in our space about iBuyers, right?
Yep.
This is a huge internet company. They don't have to answer it now, but the first person that chimes in kind of gets this.
Okay.
What is that firm?
Okay, so what is the real estate company that seized?
So they stopped the iBuyers. So everybody knows what iBuyers, right? So these internet firms, and I don't want to name names because I kind of give it away a little bit, but they were.
I can't win this, can I? No, I can't win the $25 gift card.
think-
You already have answers coming in. You want to know who was first to get this right?
Who was first?
Chief Executive Officer, Roy Wheeler Realty Company, Michael Guthrie.
Guthrie.
Just got 25.
I knew Guthrie. No.
Well, what's the answer?
Hey, Redfin.
There you go.
Michael Guthrie, you're $25 richer to Marie Bett on Rose Hill Drive and Water Street. Show that up there.
There you go, Michael.
Michael Guthrie,
Yeah.
congratulations. Congratulations right there. What is the number one question you're hearing from realtors, from buyers, sellers right now?
Can we close this earlier? That's their number one question. And really, the month was already so busy
Right.
that moving stuff up from April just isn't possible because we're trying to limit the interaction between customers, so we're only having one closing at a time. So, our bookings that we already had are kind of slowed down a little bit, so I can't move anything else into that space because we don't want to have 3 sets of people in there for closing all at the same time, because then you have to be worried about the other 2 sets. So we're trying to keep it to 1 set of people in at a time. And we're trying to keep the realtors and lenders from coming because that's less people. The less people, the better, because everybody's nervous.
So Tucker does these Tucker tips, and you just talked about this
tips.
yesterday, right?
Yep. We just sent one out yesterday.
And you want to talk a little bit
we,
about the
we
rest of
thought through what can we do in the practice of doing a closing to make it easier to complete the closing, yet keep the social distancing and keep protection. And so we sent out one yesterday, and the number one thing we're trying to do is we're recommending that when we do a closing, we do it by a specific power of attorney. Now, most banks will allow a specific power of attorney. Some won't. We're still fighting that battle. Can talk about that too. But what a specific power of attorney does is it allows somebody in our office to sign the paperwork for the buyer or the seller. What we do, if it's whoever we're signing for, we've arranged that we would email them all the documents so they can review it before we sign. And then we would sign everything and then send them copies. But we do all this remotely, so we don't actually have to be face-to-face with the client. And then we've also done something else. We said, look, if you don't have a ability to take a specific power of attorney and get it notarized, what we'll do is you'll make an appointment, you'll drive up, we'll come out to your car with the specific power of attorney, we'll get it signed in your car, we'll take a picture of your ID on one of our phones, and we'll use a clipboard, we'll wash the clipboard down. So we're going to do whatever we can to make this happen. We're not charging for the extra work. We just want to try to work that through, and to the extent we can keep from having a face-to-face, we're both safe for the client and us.
So what I'm hoping through the course of this show, folks will have questions. And Jerry, if anything's popping
It is.
on
Yeah.
the feed, let's jump in, try to see if we get this a little two-way. So, but Tucker's 6 tips, right? Just to read them. Specific power of attorney, no lenders or realtors attending.
We love you guys, but don't come.
Scheduling. Right?
Schedule. So just like Katie's doing, we're using a downstairs conference room that's going to be washed down after each closing and such.
Yeah, everything.
Digital signings.
Yeah, to the extent we can use DocuSign, let's use DocuSign.
Or AuthentiSign.
Okay.
For wet signatures, you guys are formulating number 5 as a drive-up scenario?
Yeah.
Where you would coordinate it, kind of like somebody would drive up, they wet sign it and get out. And then the 6th item is your e-recordings, which again is only currently 2 jurisdictions.
2 jurisdictions on this side of the mountain.
And almost everything on the other side.
Everything on the other side but Harrisonburg.
Yeah,
Go
Harrisonburg.
figure.
So why is that? Let's talk about that. Why is that not the case?
Just the counties had never seen the need for it, and
they do
just
now.
kinda snuck up on them. And it's funny because in the program that I use to e-file, every day they have news updates, and I have seen counties popping up. And I think there have been 5 new ones to pop up since I signed up 3 days ago. So.
I think this is going to make the entire game across the board so much more efficient and effective. It might take out some of this, but, and I hate to say this because like we were saying off air, social distancing and being quarantined in my house is like my nightmare because I get energized off people and being around you guys in general. I mean, people in general. I mean, if this is emphasized and this is how we do business moving forward, at least there's some built-in efficiencies. There's some protocols.
There's some efficiencies, but you also give up some things. And
What are you giving up?
You're giving up being in that clerk's office and making sure that absolutely every document is accounted for that affects your property. You're giving up that.
But isn't that what the gap insurance covers?
Right,
It does, but gap insurance will go away when this crisis
Right.
goes away. We
Got it.
don't have gap insurance
Well,
normally.
then if the crisis goes away, then we're back to normal
Keith,
recordings.
you don't want the call 10 years from now that, hey, you just recorded my deed and I got title insurance, I'm covered and all that, but guess what? I'm now selling my property, and 1 hour before my deed was recorded, somebody recorded a deed of trust against this property that didn't get dealt with. You don't want
or a
that call.
judgment or something.
Yeah, but isn't that what the gap insurance covers?
Sure, you have title insurance to cover it, but think you still got to go through all the
Yeah,
motions
I
of
get
getting.
I get all that, but the insurance policies are there to cover that.
That's true. So what we're doing, and I think Katie's going to follow suit too, is we're monitoring right now when we record, like what we recorded in Waynesboro yesterday. We're going to go online in a couple of days and look back and see and go ahead and do a title rundown of everything that got docketed that day before we recorded. So we're not going to just rely on the gap insurance. We're actually going to go check out and make sure nothing happened. And so that's a little extra step on us, a little extra work. But I want to do that because I don't want that call 10 years
Yeah,
from
of
now.
course.
Why didn't you, Mr. Tucker, deal with that old
You don't
deed
want
of
that
trust?
call, period,
Yeah,
ever.
yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
And even though you have the insurance, I would rather be efficient on the front end and deal with it when it's fresh and new and you can find those people, rather than 5 years from now when they're going to sell and the person that was involved that we should have gotten the money from is now deceased. I mean, that causes a big, huge problem. So I would much rather deal with it at the time, and so I don't want to rely on the insurance after this is over.
Yeah, of course.
I wanna go back.
I mean, all this is short-term gap solutions. We will eventually go back to second card.
Okay. I'll get to the gift cards here. Let's get to comments coming in. Ray Cadell says, as long as I have control of the situation, there are only 2 professionals who close for my clients. 32 years with Tucker, and I plucked him out of the yellow pages. I can't say enough about Katie West as well. Welcome Rachel Burns to the program. Taylor West and John Updike giving you props over here, Katie West. We have Scott Morris, the mortgage broker, who is asking about older folks and what can be done to help them. You have already touched on answers there. Dan Pettit, the realtor, has this question, and it's a good one. Would you, for people that don't want to leave their house, can you go to their house to help them with this? That's a sticky situation right there.
It
for you.
is.
Yeah.
Because, to send one of my employees into a situation where I'm not sure, I can't ask an employee to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what that wet signature drive up is
Yeah.
the solution to that.
Yeah.
Dan, that's how that works. If your client gets there, they'll come out, they'll sign on the
Yeah,
side.
I mean, think of it. They're in their car. They're in a controlled environment. They roll down the window. We're out in open air. We're reaching across. Look, Jerry, I'm reaching across to you. You reach out your window. Here's
6
the
feet.
clipboard.
Yeah.
Take the clipboard, sign. We take it's either your pen or you keep our pen. We don't want it back.
Yeah.
And we're done.
Yeah. That's very nicely
Is
done.
my son-in-law watching?
He is not right now, but Rachel Burns just said, I sent you guys both files this week. You two are the best.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Zena Choi of Tao Insurance watching the program here. A number of realtors having the question for Bill. I've kind of touched on this forum. Where is the market going Q2 and Q3? You don't have it's tough. You can't see the future.
But I think things will be. I think what we do in our market is we're going to see what the realtors produced this month. We're going to see it next month, and I think we'll see a slowdown next month because I don't think people are out looking at houses as much now as they used to be, and I don't expect them to.
But once this is over, I think it will bounce right back to the market that we were in before. I think it'll come right back around.
Yeah.
So I have several quotes from Dr. Yoon, who's the National Association of Realtors chief economist. And there was a podcast I listened to yesterday that he was on, and I wholeheartedly believe in this. This is short term. Just all the basic tenets of the economy is there. So I had somebody who was a little younger than me thinking this was going to be 2008, 2009 again.
No.
And the structural systems that were in place back then,
Completely different.
completely different. We just from the volume perspective, 2008 and back in that era, builders were building 2 million units per year. Last 10 years are averaging 1 million, 1 million 1 million 2. So the supply and the basic tenets of supply and demand, and this whole virus thing is going to have a bell curve. Personally, and I'm always an optimist.
Me
I'm
too.
always
I think we have 4 optimists here.
I'm looking forward. I think the fall market is going to be the new spring market.
Interesting.
And
That's the kind of stuff people want, right?
and Dr. Yoon is literally, I'm not going to verbatim quote him, but that's what he's saying. He says, look, we're going to hit this thing. All the structural integrities are there. Actually, I think we're going to end up with a bigger problem in the fall where we're going to have not enough inventory.
Yeah, and huge pent-up demand.
And
That's what I think is going
And if you're listening to him, once this, now again, this isn't me talking, this is Dr. Yoon speaking. Once this bond buybacks start hitting the system, you're going to see 3% interest rates. It might be 2 or.
I mean, we're seeing 2.85 now, right, on a 30-year fix?
It went up a little bit.
They went up a little bit, and
okay.
that's a really technical reason.
Yeah.
It really has nothing to do with what's going on.
Super cheap money regardless.
Yeah, it's super
Yes.
cheap money. Yeah, way too many refis in the pipeline, and that drove the bond down.
Your wife and Ray Cadell are getting a chuckle over the Yellow Pages comment that Keith has made. And
No, I didn't make that. He made that.
Was there
and
a free
Yep.
20-minute consultation that you were offering back in the day? You were offering that?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It got me Ray as a referral source, and it got me a wife.
There you go. There you go.
So, hey, Yellow Pages works, folks.
Caitlin Mancini, glad to join in. She says she's a realtor. Great stuff today. I think it's totally going to be that, where it's going to be
totally
pent-up demand between now and, say, the fall. But the people that own the inventory would not have done the improvements necessary to put the homes on the market. So there's going to be obscene demand and very little inventory.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
The Smiths are in the middle of renovating their house. Genius move, right? We've got oak floor going down, drywall guys in that. I mean, it's 20 years old. We're doing from top to bottom.
Don't you think remodeling, that category is going to spike?
So the guys that are working on the house for us, I said, so how's things going? It's me being me. They just all of a sudden got booked for 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Because everybody's going, hey, I'm getting my house ready again.
So they're home.
Well, not so much the home. With the last crisis, nobody really knew. Look, God forbid, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of smart people looking at this. There's a lot of smart people figuring out how to work on this thing. We're practicing social distancing, right? I mean, it's really, and it's working. Eventually, this curve's going to come down, right? When, God only knows. But then, again, just according to Dr. Yoon, quote is saying, housing is a very solid ground if we were to go into a recession. So even if we were to go into a recession, right? So technically a recession is 2 quarters back to back. But what a real recession is, when Jerry loses his job, that's a recession.
Well, yeah.
It's a recession to Jerry.
Yeah.
The technocrats.
My company. Is Dory your daughter?
Dory is my daughter.
I'm so glad you guys responded to that Yellow Page ad. It turned out well for me. On that Facebook page
It
right
did
there.
turn out well for Dory.
Welcome to the program, Dory Tucker Doyle. This portion of the show, thanks to Mike Bittrick and First Heritage Mortgage, Keith.
Yeah, so some of this data we're throwing out about interest rates is coming from Mike and from other good friends of ours that are in the mortgage space. And I had a conversation with Mike yesterday. I said, look, should I refinance my house? He said, slow down. Give it a couple of months, because once this bell curve comes around, you're going to see, just as Dr. Yoon predicted, somewhere around 3%.
Julie Ballard says, so glad to be listening to you guys, so helpful. Thanks for staying positive. Being new to the business, I look to this show for insight weekly. I look to this show for guidance. She's a realtor in the program. Anywhere you guys want to go on this topic right here? that we're talking about. We're talking about how remodeling could be going strong, how the fall could be the new spring market, whether the inventory is going to be there when we come out of it. I think the demand's going to be there. Any topic you want to go, Katie?
I just think that, a lot of people being at home, they're doing those things around the house. So I think when we do get back to normalcy and the houses start to go on the market, they're going to be in a lot better shape and a lot easier to sell.
So I think this whole inventory thing is going to be a big problem.
Yeah.
But give a card away, man.
Yeah. Let's absolutely. And to your point, we're an advertising agency here, and our number one client. We love all our clients. We love all our clients. Our top client on the roster, and it's been our top client for 6 years. Interstate Pest and Service Companies.
Yep.
Their phone is ringing off the hook.
Oh yeah.
Ringing off the hook. So we have a $25 gift card here to Marie Bett, courtesy of the
Yes team.
The esteemed gentleman, Keith Smith and the Yes team. Here's the question. Put it in the comment section of any of the Facebook pages you're watching the show on. $25, the first to answer this. Where is the only escalator located in the city of Charlottesville?
Oh.
Where is the only escalator located?
In the city?
In the city.
Oh.
City. Has to be city limits. Where's the only escalator located in the city of Charlottesville? $25 gift card. Put your comment in the comment section, and we'll pick a winner. Zena's Choice says, phenomenal program right here. Keith Smith, jump in here.
So let's talk market stuff since we kind of went there. So I'm going to shout out to Judah a little bit here. First of all, Judah, thank you for everything you do. He got data from me like 20 minutes before the show, and he's making it happen. So
Rachel Burns just won the gift card.
What's the win?
Do you guys know? Rachel Burns, you won the gift card. Let's see if the panel knows the answer here. I got 8 direct messages coming in for the gift card right here on Twitter and Instagram. Where do you think is the only escalator?
I was guessing the airport, but
that's
in
the county.
Yeah.
That's in the county.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm embarrassed to say I don't know.
Rachel Burns, bingo, you're exactly right. We now have multiple right answers coming in. The only escalator in the city of Charlottesville is in Michaels and Barracks Road Shopping Center. You take the escalator
That's right.
up.
I forgot that was the city.
Yay, Rachel.
That's the only one.
Yay, Rachel.
Well
Good
done,
for her.
Rachel Burns.
Rachel,
He's
you're going in
marking
the
over here.
envelope, buddy.
I'll take care of that. Why don't you throw the stats to Bill and Katie?
So, Judah, can you put up slide number 1? So what I've decided to do or work on, and it's just my geekiness of it, I wanted to take a look at what's going on in a week-over-week basis, right? Mm-hmm. And what's going on, and I just looked at it at a very large, high-level, 44,000-foot cruising level of a 25-mile radius from UVA Hospital going out. So as the crow flies. Mm-hmm. So the first slide that Judah's putting up is just a reference of what that distance looks like. In a map, so where 25 miles gets you out to Waynesboro, Fishersville, it also takes you out to Zions Crossroads and north up to Ruckersville and south. But in the last 7 days, this is only pendings, which is contracts written. There's 111 that were wrote. So there was 111 homes that went under contract in the last 7 days. So the second slide. And we'll go through this a little quickly, and maybe some folks can jump in some questions. So what I wanted to do was kind of take a look at, what went on in the last 30 days as far as acting, pending, and sold, right? So active is there are different colors of blue. I hopefully picked, maybe I didn't consult my guru here on the right color selection, so we'll see how that shows up on the screen. But in active, in the last 30 days, there's 398 homes. In pending, there is 465, and in sold, there is 317.
Okay.
And if you'd done this next week, the pending and the actual solds would have flip-flopped probably because of the end of the month.
So
Everything closes at the end of the month.
I just lied to everybody. The numbers are reversed. It's 465 on active and 398 on
Okay, so what's your question? What's the topic? Where are we going here?
I have no idea.
Okay, so we got these graphs. You got to throw it over to the guests over here.
Questions. Well, I guess I just wanted to get data out. That's
Yeah.
all. Hey, you put me on the spot there. Jeez. Are you guys tracking this stuff? Are you seeing how many contracts you've got coming in the last week? Is that something you can talk a little bit about?
Our contracts have fallen off a little bit, but not very much. We're still getting a great many orders every day. And some of that is, maybe the realtors aren't out showing houses as much. They're actually getting their contracts in. I don't know. But we're still seeing a good many orders come in every day.
And we're actually, Keith sent a text out, ask us to check. So we did the best we could. When we get a file in, we'll open it. We'll try to open it within a day or two, unless it's something closing sooner, then we'll get it open the same day. So I asked the two offices that do a lot of real estate, the Lake Monticello office and the Charlottesville office, what have they opened since last Friday through yesterday? And the Lake office had opened 20 files. And the Charlottesville office, I think the number was either 35 or 37. I couldn't quite get a handle. Now, you got to understand, Keith, those could be transactions that happen or contracts that happened 2 weeks ago
Sure.
that we're now just getting.
Sure.
Or when I talk about opening a file, it may be we may get somebody who's buying a property or going to do a construction loan, so they already own the property. So that may not be that's a transaction for us,
Got it.
but not a closing for a realtor.
But
Could be a refi.
Yeah.
could be a
Or
refi. Could be a refi. But just as far as volume of real estate transactions, as you listed out, is that a normal amount?
No, that's actually a little more than we normally get. Last year in March, we had about 170 new files that we opened. We're on track to do about 200 this month.
What about you, Katie?
Yeah, we're up from last year as well. I don't have the exact numbers because I have like 4 offices, but
Well, I sent a rush order over to Katie the other day, and I got pushback. I don't think we can do it.
no, because we're extremely busy, but that's a good thing, and we like being busy. But
But you can do this one. Come on.
I
think he's asked that before.
I think the response was that we'll do our best to meet your needs, but we can't guarantee.
Okay, let's play
anything.
nice, folks. Let's play nice.
Now I'm getting my distance.
Yeah, social distance.
It had
right
nothing
now.
to do with this current event. It had something to do with everything else.
Yeah.
Well, I got to advocate for my client,
Of
right?
course,
Yeah.
of course. Slide number 3. So this is week over week. And that's kind of what I wanted to look at, the same 25-mile radius. So week 1 was 228 to 20, 228 to 35. So what you're looking at is days on market, number of units sold, and in thousands what the median sales price was. So these are all median sale prices. So in the first week, we were having 78 units sold, average days on market. Slide number 3
Yep.
is 52 days, and then we're running about 330. The second week was 36 to 312. We had 68 sold. This is again the same 25-mile radius. Days on market were 32, so that went down a little bit, substantial actually. And the median sales price went down a bit to 325. And then last week, which was from 213 to 313 to 319, 87 sold, 13 days on market. It went down a little bit, 274 is the median sales price. So I threw these together rather quickly in the morning, so I may have some typographical errors in there, so I apologize in advance. But I'm just looking at this, it looks like to me days on market are going down. It looks, and I really want other real estate agents to call me out on this live, please. I'm seeing solds kind of fluctuating up and down, but it seems like the median sales price is dropping a little bit.
That's what we should be highlighting there, right?
That's how I'm seeing it.
I mean, that's a pretty drastic drop.
Yeah, and
affordability here. What do we think about these metrics here, Bill?
You know, when we track what we're closing, we're not really looking at the
Sure.
prices and
Yeah.
such.
You're talking about files.
Yeah.
Actual transactions.
Yeah, we just, we want to get the transaction handled and resolved, so, but we are seeing, I mean, I'm actually seeing some higher price files
Yeah,
come across
I've
our desk,
seen some higher price.
yes, which is
too.
kind of good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is median, so this is throwing out your high and
Yeah.
lows
Yeah.
and getting into the middle. I can just talk about our transactions. In the last week, we seem to be hitting that middle number pretty well. That our contracts seem to be hitting that way.
So Neil's got I'm going to throw it to you here.
Yeah.
Neil Williamson, Free Enterprise Forum, has got a comment. He routinely watches this program. He's active with CAR. He's a news content creator. Neil says, for what it's worth, I'm anticipating COVID-19 impacts on the fiscal year 2021 commercial property assessments as leaseholders fail to make rent and property management costs increase in collections and maintenance costs. This one hits really close home to me, owning most of this building, having 24 commercial tenants on our roster. Knock on fake IKEA, I have not had the email yet. Now, we're in the executive office game, so our price points are lower than Class A office space, where it's 5-year, 5% escalator, high dollar. Commercial, not your specialty. Anywhere you want to go on that topic.
I own a fair amount of commercial property myself, and one of my locations had a couple of restaurant tenants who said they've got to close their door, of course, and they're worried about making rent payments.
Right.
Had a hair salon at another location close. So, it's going to affect us all.
What's the play? What's the strategy?
Well, we're going to work with them, and hopefully the government will come in with some kind of zero interest loans and allow people to continue to receive some kind of compensation and hopefully come back and pay the rent. But we're not going to kick anybody out or evict anybody because they can't pay.
Dropping assessments next year? City? Got to, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, what they'll do is they'll just raise the rate. Assessments go down, the rate
Yeah.
will just go up, right?
True.
'Cause
They have to get their
that's,
money somehow.
that's what happens, right? Because they got to hit their budget. So they might assessments might go down, but your rate's going to go up. You're not going to pay any less money.
Is that what you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's always happened that way.
That's the way it's worked.
Assessments go up and the tax rate goes down. You still pay about the same or a little more.
A little bit more, yeah. So, I mean, just think about it. The government the local jurisdictions have to hit their budgets at zero, right? So that's that whole assessment rate game that they pay. That's the reason when people start talking about assessment for value, real estate value, it's really not the right.
It's not a
metric.
good barometer.
It's the wrong matrix.
Lloyd Snook was here yesterday, and he said with the fiscal 2021 budget, with the meals tax, we're at a $5 million shortage already.
Yeah, sure.
The budget in totality is roughly $200 million, so $5 million is 2.5% of 200. And he said if the students don't return in August, which is the best case scenario, they return in August, this is Lloyd Snook talking, then we can expect a $7 to $8 million deficit in the Charlottesville budget.
Sure.
What do you think about that?
I would defer to him. I mean, he knows these things better than anybody. I just, my opinion is on that is, I think as long as everybody's trying to work together, right? We're trying to promote local businesses by giving out.
You got it. You have a
No,
question.
I want to see your question.
Okay, I have a good third question. Do you want to go? You have a third question?
No, but I was on a train saying something and Bill
Okay.
interrupted me.
Well, Bill Tucker,
Welcome
Charlottesville.
to my world.
Oh, jeez. Right?
That's what I
so
live in.
in front of 253,000 people, everybody needs to understand that. I have attention deficit syndrome, so I am not going
He
to
was
get
still
that.
reading the graphs, Bill Tucker.
Well, I'm still
I
trying
am
to
not
see-
going to get that question
I'm
back,
still trying
Bill.
to figure out which blue is which blue.
It's okay. It's okay.
Me too, Bill.
Yeah, well, I'm colorblind
Y'all
too.
are
So.
being mean to Keith.
I'm sorry, we're not being mean to Keith. We're not mean.
It's okay. Thank God this is whiskey.
You want me to ask a question or you go?
No, you go for one. I don't
Okay,
I'm
so
going to pout. I'm gonna sit here and
my
pout.
themes of my questions have been in the topics of restaurants to help them out. This portion of the program thanks to Mac Weems State Farm. Mac Weems, a trusted advisor in the insurance game at State Farm. The newest State Farm agent in Charlottesville and Central Virginia is Mac Weems. Keith Smith and the Yes Team Realtors have got 4 $25 gift cards. Here's the third $25 gift card to Marie Bett on Rose Hill Drive and on Water Street. This is the question. Put your answer in the comment section. The first to get this right gets the gift card. Rachel Burns, you cannot win again. Rachel.
Yes, Rachel.
Michael Guthrie, you cannot win again. I see you still watching. What is the oldest restaurant in the city of Charlottesville?
Ooh.
Do you know? You can't say. I will ask you though. Okay. Do you know?
We'll wait.
Well, I don't know. I think I do.
Okay.
We'll wait until somebody chimes in on that. Then we'll see how the panel.
The oldest restaurant in the city of Charlottesville, still in operation, still working today. Put the answer in the comment section of any of the 12 Facebook pages, and you win a $25 gift card. Bill Tucker swears he has the answer. That is incorrect. That is incorrect.
no.
That's incorrect.
Oh!
A lot of people think that. A lot of people.
I would have lost that one.
Bill
too.
Tucker put up the gang symbols right there. That is incorrect, Bill Tucker. A lot of people think that. It's a trick question right there.
Not only do I have to look at his legs, these whole gang singles. I have no idea.
Logan Wells, that is not. It's not the Nook. It is not the Nook. Name the
Ooh.
oldest restaurant in the city of Charlottesville. Katie, do you have an idea?
Don't.
Would you have thought? Did you see his fingered answer? No.
Yeah, that would have been one of my thoughts.
Yeah,
but
I went
didn't
there.
think that was it.
We have a winner.
Okay.
Julie Ballard, the realtor.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, good for her.
Do you have a guess? You want to guess?
No, I already blew it.
The Virginian restaurant on the UVA corner.
I didn't-
wow.
Yeah.
Virginian. Michael Guthrie said C&O. It is the Virginian on the UVA corner.
So,
It's the
Michael,
oldest
everybody on set thought it was C&O. So,
restaurant. That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Well done, Julie Ballard. We'll put your name down here.
Good
Finish
for
your
Julie.
thought. Where'd you want to go?
I told you I got a deficit syndrome. I totally lost it.
We were talking about the graphs that Keith created, and
Nobody likes the colors.
Well, we were talking about the affordability in the
Yeah.
market and how the median price is dropping.
So let's go to slide 4. So this is week over week under contract by jurisdiction. So that same, need help with the colors there, Bill?
No, the colors are good.
The colors on this one's a little better. I got better as the morning went on, but just ran out of time before we came here. So we're looking at the same 3 weeks, right? And we did Charlottesville, Albemarle, Fluvanna, Greene, Louisa, Augusta, and Waynesboro. And I included Augusta and Waynesboro in it. So it's a simple bar graph. As you're looking at it, red is Charlottesville. You can see that in week number 1, there was 18 units. Week 2, 18 units. Last week, only 9. Yellow is Albemarle County. These are under contracts or pendings as we show them in the MLS. Week number 1 for Albemarle was 55. Week number 2 was 57. Week number 3 was 52. And you can follow through this on the.
Look at Louisa being consistent.
Isn't that funny?
It is. You can't get more consistent than Louisa
No.
there.
No.
I
But
think that's identical.
Yeah.
so I'm real curious to see what week number 4 is going to fill out next week. So what I'm hoping to do is, and maybe somebody can help me out get better at this, but hopefully we can kind of track this week over week. I'd like to keep everybody up to speed what I think the market's doing, and we didn't see week number 3 in Albemarle County go from 52 to 12. Right.
Exactly.
So, it's kind of in a bit of a sweet spot on it. So we're real curious to see what week number 4 is going to come up, as Bill said. But it's something I'm trying to do here on the show, is kind of keep a week over week and provide a little bit of information. And I'm sure some of my fellow real estate friends out in the market will chime in and help me through this.
Absolutely. A number of realtors continue to ask for the sage advice that is Bill Tucker about where the market is heading. The topic is continued to be put on the stream by realtors, and you have mentioned, I don't want to steal the thunder from you, but we got realtors just tuning in right now that are asking for where we're heading in 2020. Do you want to handle that one again?
Well, I can try. People call me, what's my interest rate going to be if I don't lock now? I don't know. I think we're going to see, while we all isolate ourselves as best we can, that there's going to be a slowdown in new contracts, showings. I was talking to somebody the other day, said they don't want an appraiser to come in their house.
So we're going to talk about that here in a minute.
Okay. So I think we're going to see a slowdown for probably the next month or two.
They want to sell their home,
but
they don't want an appraiser to what?
Well,
How would
I know, or they don't want a showing. Do we?
Well, imagine being that appraiser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
He probably doesn't want to go in the house.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
well, there's a third component. There's the showing, the home inspector.
Yeah.
And so the last slide, if you don't mind, best practices. So us that are in the trenches, just like you guys have set up protocols, we're setting up protocols as an industry to help through this. So I can speak from a real circumstances. We currently have a seller. She is in her mid-80s. She has respiratory issues. We have a home inspection that is actually today. And the way that I think we're all going to get through this, and this just may be a good thing, we're over-communicating with everybody. Yonna and I were working from home yesterday. We had our phones stuck in there all day, which is a real challenge when people are installing oak floor. Yeah. Just so that everybody knows. But we're over-communicating. This is, in my opinion, this is why Redfin took it away, because you can't navigate your way through this with an app. You need trusted advisors. So what we've done is we communicated with our client, said, look, this is what we're going to do. As you take a look at the slide, we want you to open up your doors, leave your cabinets open, turn on all your lights. So when the home inspector goes through, everything is open as much as possible on it.
He doesn't have to touch anything.
But he's wearing gloves.
Right.
We're making him wear gloves, and he totally agreed to it. He's wearing booties on it. We're communicating with them and say, hey, look, do you not feel well? I'm fine. We communicated that information back to the seller. So look, this is the protocols we're going to do. We're going to be there with them. We're going to wear gloves. We're going to wear booties, right? We're going to minimize what we touch. And if we do, we're going to have gloves on when we do it. We're going to sanitize the heck out of ourselves in and out. But we need to move this ball forward. You can't say, no, I can't have a home inspection, right? I guess you could, but so, and with about a half an hour phone call, and actually, God love her, taught an 85-year-old woman how to Zoom, and we had a video conference on it, and she said, fine, and that was it. So the same thing goes with the appraisers. It just becomes a series of, this is when we all really need to ramp up our jobs, ramp up our basically, as Michael Guthrie always says, serve with a servant heart. Yeah. This is the time for us to serve with a servant heart and be considerate of the other side and communicate just like the lawyers are talking, real estate agents are talking, our professionals are talking to get through here. And I think together as a team, we can get through that.
This question's being asked by the Realtors. Are we going to see the refi game get stronger now? And how's that going to impact Q3?
Well, yeah, I think we're going to still see refis, but the rates went back up over 3, I think, and a lot of people had refied when they dropped from 4 below into the 3s. So we had a refi boom about a year ago. So, I mean, it used to be the rule of thumb is you had to be 2% interest rate to refi, but it's not like that anymore.
Why is that?
Well, it's just because of closing cost. It didn't make sense otherwise. Sure. But now a lot of the refis are without points, and the true refi cost is not that much. So, I've seen people refi for a half a point. I'm actually refining some of my commercial properties for a half a point.
And especially if you have an assumable loan, the lower that rate is, the more marketable it'll be to, say, the VA people, because those loans are assumable, and if the rates start to go back up, you've got a great selling point that your rate's so low.
When Keith was talking about communicating, the same thing that happened to us, Keith. We had a couple of closings that we wanted to make sure the people understood. One of them was 3 people. We don't want you guys here. And the lender said, I don't think that they're going to want that. And I literally called the lender, explained to the lender why we're doing it. I called the 3 people, and they said, oh, you mean we don't have to come? And they were happy.
So we all experienced a closing, the 3 of us, last week. And the only way we got through it was we were constantly talking. Bill called me at, 8 o'clock at night on his cell phone?
Does he call you at 5:30 in the morning as well?
No, not 5:30.
Okay, do you have a 5:30 in the morning
He may
rule?
text me then, but I don't look.
When do you respond to the text that comes in at 5:30 in the morning?
Probably at 9 o'clock.
Okay, I do the same.
So you realize this is my show, right?
Okay, I'm just checking. I get the 5:30s too. You do it to other people.
Keith calls me in the evenings, but not in the morning.
You don't get the 5:30 a.m.?
Because I'm much smarter than I look.
Guess I'm not that smart. I still get that.
Look, So, what time we got here?
We got plenty of time.
Got it. Any questions chiming in that we need to bounce past?
Mainly, it's coming from the refi. A lot of the agents that are putting on the stream, they're saying that I think we're going to go down the road of refinancing here, and it could impact inventory that's coming on the market because people choose to stay in their house, do home improvements, and make their current home potentially a forever home instead of trading up. I think that's a very well said and shared sentiment.
So I think time will tell that, right? Because we're such a shortage of inventory. So that comment is a good comment, but is it taking into consideration the shortage of inventory, right? So if there's a certain amount not coming on the market because, hey, I'm going to stay and renovate it, there's still this lagging indicator of inventory out there. And like we said earlier, and Dr. Yonna said, if builders are not producing like they before, as far as new construction goes, that backlog is still there.
And I think what's going to happen there, and throw it back to you, is then it's going to start helping, and I saw it firsthand, with someone who lived in Redfield, it's trading up. 1993 older home, sold like hotcakes because the new construction had already moved. Yeah. So then it trickled down.
Yeah, so I mean, that's part of the reason I want to do this week over week. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen next Friday and then the Friday after that.
And the other thing about this market is that we have things that bring people in and out so much between the government and UVA and things like that and the hospital. We have people moving in and out of the area where not putting your house on the market is not really an option.
Right.
So
well said.
This market has something that a lot of other markets don't have. So I think that will help us remain a little bit stronger too.
We just need to be loving and kind to one another, and particularly our restaurant folks and our hourly employees, and reach out and help. Yonna and I have a couple of shut-ins in our neighborhood, and there's a local restaurants, and we get meals to go, and we put it on their front porch, and do the old, when you were a kid, you ring the doorbell and run.
Yeah.
So we leave a handwritten note.
When I was doing that, it wasn't with fine dining cuisine. It was with other things. But that shows you're a better person than I am, Keith.
I was trying to keep this high level.
Okay, I would say you're a better man than I am.
So that's what we do. We do a little note. Hey, be well. Call us if you need us. Ring. Here's something for dinner. Ring the doorbell and run on that stuff. So let's be kind to one another. This is the time to do that. We'll all get through this. This too shall pass. It will.
Well, Tucker is actually doing something really nice for my staff today, and he doesn't even know it.
Oh, I love it.
Congratulations, you're doing good. Tucker's one of our owners. And so we decided that our staff had worked so hard at getting through the changes that we're facing right now that we supported a local restaurant and bought them all lunch today.
Amazing.
On the company credit card. So.
Okay. I thought you were going to say everybody was getting 10% raises at the firm.
No, that didn't happen. But we did get them lunch.
Nice. Very nice. What do you think is going to happen to the restaurant industry?
I worry about them.
Oh, yeah.
I really do, because they don't have the staying power that we do. So, they hopefully, I don't know how they take care of their staff. I worry about them just paying their fixed expenses, being able to pay the rent. Some of them got exorbitant rent. The local mom and pops, are they going to be able to stay? So they need landlords who are going to tolerate it and come up with a solution. I mean, I love the restaurant community here, and I'd hate to see it change.
We would too.
So the landlords, and I cannot think that they would not work with them. I mean, to just throw it to you. And God forbid this happens in your circumstance. You're going to work with your people.
Of course. Yeah. Well, I think it also depends on the landlord's situation.
Sure.
Like a lot of my friends that are in the game, so I have...
If they're over-leveraged.
Bill Nitchman is a mentor.
Yeah, sure.
He is in a phenomenal position.
Sure.
Cash heavy, no debt on his buildings.
Sure.
Some of my other friends that are in our 30s, early 40s, they're levered.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the bank ain't going to say, give us a hiatus on our payment.
Well, the banks may have to think about that.
You think the banks will say that?
I think that's an individual.
I think they're going to have some workarounds.
One-on-one conversation. I always tell people, like when the 2007 and 8 situation, I told people who couldn't make their payments, if they wanted to keep their house, don't not make, and you can't make your payment. There's no way you're going to make it. You got to talk and communicate to the bank. If you bury your head in the sand, the bank's going to think the worst. If you start talking to them, there may be some relief.
So this is a reason, in my opinion, why you want to have local folks helping you. When we used to borrow a bunch of commercial money, I always used local guys, local gals, local people. When stuff happened, you picked up the phone and you just over-communicated. Said, look, this is my circumstances. This is what's going on. Same thing happens with, there's a couple of local lenders watching. This is the time.
5 of them.
This is time not to do
Yeah.
whatever
Right.
Yeah.
it is, right? This is the time to pick up and call a Mike Bittrick and call these local lenders.
Yeah, in the commercial situation, you're dealing with not necessarily local people, which is a little harder.
Well, it depends on how much money
But
you borrow.
what I'm hoping, Keith, is when the federal government, God bless them if they could ever agree on anything, would come up with this, I don't want to call it a bailout, but come up with this recovery program, that they may look at saying, the way to make it work is let's use our banks, let's just guarantee these loans. Let's let the banks make small loans to these business
Sure.
people so they can stay alive and afloat, and we'll just back it, we'll guarantee it 100%. And then you get the banks and the communities out there participating, saving their
Working together.
local business, working together, communicating.
Well, I mean, it's just good. It's just good business, right? It's just good business.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
But we'll get off. We vowed on this show never to talk politics, and I will never talk politics on this show. But if there was ever a time that people just put their politics aside and help each other,
It's now.
now's the time to do
Absolutely.
it. It doesn't matter what flavor you are.
Absolutely.
Go out and help somebody.
5 different
Exactly.
car presidents, past presidents watching the program. We'll now welcome Denise Ramey to the show. Hello, Denise.
Hey, Denise.
Michael says IRS just extended the 4/15 file deadline to
Good.
July 15th. Everyone, including landlords and the banks, will need to be flexible to return us to form. Well said. We'll see how this transpired. People are asking about the 4th gift card. Keith Smith.
I think I might just keep this.
Oh, he's going to keep it. I like it. Bill and Katie are getting cappuccinos.
No, we're gonna buy that after the show anyway.
Okay.
So that's it. I'm trying to think what the 4th question should be.
Hello, Lee Hughes,
Thank you. Hey, Lee.
commercial agent.
So I think I'm gonna pivot a little bit to kind of stop some of this rumor stuff and see if we can get some questions on that. So I was reading the CDC website this morning, and I think the question is are masks helpful in this crisis?
Is that for the gift card?
That's for the gift card. No? Bad question?
I don't think, how are we going to pick a winner on that?
Yeah.
It's got to be
You got a
clear
50-50
cut.
shot, yes
Yeah.
or no.
Well, if you want to do that, why don't you have everybody come in, what's the best thing you can say, promote to how we can all help each other?
I'm just going to go pout in the corner.
I thought you were about to tell them to come into this office with their mask on, and I was going to freak the hell out. I was about to sprint for the door. My wife might leave me if that happens right there.
Exactly. Or at least make you sleep outside.
I think you got to give them an answer that they can answer quickly, and we can pick a winner here. He's basically saying you're asking them to write an essay over here.
It's actually a simple answer because it's on the website.
You're
But
saying masks are helpful.
that's
The
not
right
what
mask,
Okay.
I'm not saying that.
They are not helpful.
They are not helpful.
the right kind of mask.
The right kind of mask is helpful, and they're limited to the hospitals, so they have to use a specific way. So I got to think of another question. You just took my thunder completely away from me.
Do you want me to fire one out there? You want to do a realtor question?
Yeah, let's do one.
Okay. Do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead, shoot it. If I think it's a dumb question, I'm gonna jump.
Do you
in.
want me to throw it? How about a restaurant question to help the restaurant industry?
I think that's the right answer.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to throw another question on here. I literally found out about this gift card competition. The show starts at 10:15. I found out at 10:42. So I'm thinking on the fly right now.
Yeah.
The oldest brewery in the city of Charlottesville.
Yeah. City of Charlottesville.
City of Charlottesville. It's city limits. You can win a $25 gift card to Marie Bett, one of our fabulous sponsors.
Do they have to produce?
Rose Hill Drive and Water Street. Put in the comment section the name of the oldest brewery in the city of Charlottesville. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a tough question for
Do
you.
they have to produce or just sell?
They're open. It's a tap room, and a tasting room, and active brewery. Whoever gets it, put in the comment section. We'll hook you up with a Marie Bet gift card. We have a number of answers already coming in. This show is so dynamic. So far, incorrect answers right now. $25 gift card on the line. The oldest brewery in the city of Charlottesville.
That's a good thing that realtors don't know where to go to drink.
What, in this circumstance, like right now?
Well, maybe not.
Okay, I think you're probably right. Dave Varell says Star Hill. Star Hill is not correct, Dave Varell. I believe he's watching in Outer Banks, the entrepreneur behind Dippin' Dots.
I can't say it.
Yeah, you cannot say it. You're going to tip them off. What is the oldest brewery for a $25 gift card? What's planned for the rest of your day, Tucker?
Well, I'm going to go meet with some staff and talk about how we're going to convince lenders to let us use powers of attorney.
There we go.
Good luck
How about
with
you?
that.
I am going to go back to the office and answer the 500 emails that have come into my account since I've been sitting here.
I've got it. Has anybody got the question?
Not so far. People think it's Star Hill. It's not right.
I'm going to ask a different question.
I would have said Blue Ridge, but that's not it.
That's not it either.
So,
although that's getting closer.
We're going to change questions. What local distillery is currently making hand sanitizer?
Oh, I saw that. That's a good one.
Oh,
That's,
I know that one.
What
Well,
local
Quentin Beckham, your buddy Quentin Beckham of Keller Williams just got the right answer.
to that one?
No, for the one I asked. Do you want to give it to Quentin?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's give it to him on the
Okay,
board.
Quentin Beckham is exactly right. South Street.
There you go.
That's what
I
the
knew
oldest.
that one.
That was the one I would
A
have guessed.
couple of months before Star Hill opened up in the Star Hill neighborhood on West Main. Of course, Star Hill now in Crozet. South Street opened up a couple months before Star Hill.
So
You had 4 agents that won these gift cards. It shows you how many agents watch this show.
So what about the distillery question?
You know the answer to that one? No.
You know
It's,
this. So anybody for bonus credit?
It's the silver whatever.
Silverback.
Yeah.
He's a huge Riggleman fan. Quentin also got Silverback right as well.
I want to quantify that.
Yeah.
I'm a huge gin fan.
Okay, gin fan. Gin fan. And they make damn good gin.
They make a really good gin.
Absolutely.
Well, hey guys, this has been great. We are, we're way
12 minutes over. It's
12
okay.
minutes over. Normally we do this gauntlet thing, but I think the Q&A for the cards kind of overtook that. But I do want to ask each one of you one question.
Sure.
And I'm going to go with the pretty young lady first, and then this gives you time to think about it.
They always give you time.
Would you like me to go the other way?
No, that's
Okay. So what's left on your bucket list that you haven't done yet?
That I haven't done yet. I haven't made it to Australia with my husband. He goes there about 4 times a year, and I
What?
haven't made it yet.
Lucky
Really?
duck.
Because every time he's getting ready to go, I have something.
So what is he
at
doing there?
work. He works for the government. So,
That means you can't tell us.
yeah, pretty much.
Bill?
I want to barefoot water ski in my 70s.
Okay.
The last time I barefooted, I was 65. And every time I get an opportunity to do it again, I always say the water's not quite right.
Is it too cold?
No, I want it flat.
Okay, gotcha.
I think it's a
Gotcha.
fear level.
So how often do you water ski?
Not as often as I used to. I grew up on a lake.
Got
So
it.
I grew up in Alabama.
Alabama, that's right.
Yeah, in Tennessee River. So I've water skied since I was a young one. But we learned to barefoot. Gosh, I was probably 15 when I was barefooting.
So let's be kind to one another. Let's go out and support our local restaurants. Help folks that need to be helped. Reach out to them. And, let's just share a little bit of love. We will get through this. This too shall pass. And we will get through this. So thank you guys for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for watching the show. We will be back on air next Friday at 10:15. You will find this show archived on the YesTeamRealtors.com, and for the next 2 weeks across the I Love CVille Network, we will put it in front of 253,000 people. For Katie, Bill, for Keith, I'm Jerry. This is Real Talk, powered by the Yes Team. Enjoy your morning, guys.
So before we do this,
Yeah.
Judah, thank you for coming in. Jerry, thank you for coming in. And thank you guys. Please.
I'm here 7 days a
Thank
week.
you, Keith.
Amen, brother.
Have a good one, guys. Take care.
All right.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Did you get a good overhead photo, Judah?